worked most of the time. It's just snowballed in the opposite because of other things, and yeah, it's not really a comp thing, but that's the idea with the comp at least.
Thank you. We'll take the next question from Fernando.
Thank you. Hi, guys. Sorry for your loss. My questions goes for Les. Les, no show da Game Arena, eu queria te perguntar, cara, primeiramente, sinto muito pela derrota e pela eliminação, queria te perguntar a sua avaliação, né, nesses seus primeiros dois campeonatos de temporada com a VIT, de primeira temporada jogando no time internacional.
Foi um NT. Seus primeiros campeonatos, acho que o meu primeiro não foi tão bom. Meu segundo, ah, acho que eu tentei ali, né? Não foi o melhor, mas é um novo time, é uma nova língua, então eu não vou me criticar tanto assim, então eu acho que foi decente.
Obrigado. Good luck, guys, on throughout the season.
Thank you. We'll move to the in-house media.
Good evening. My name is Brian Francis from esports.net. I would like to ask this question to Seth. This is concerning the last map of Split. During this map, your team could only secure on the attack only 3 rounds. Could you tell like what went wrong and how T1 were like better you all on defense, or what could have gone wrong from your end?
They peak, we die. Like, it's a fundamental issue. It's unfortunate it had to happen that way, but yeah, I can't really give a proper answer because obviously I'm still off the game fresh. But yeah, probably something in the fundamentals. Like, could be any call that's correct, and if we lose a man, it becomes awkward. So them pushing over and over again with the op and just putting pressure made it hard for us.
Thank you so much for your answer and all the best for stage 1.
Thank you. We'll go to Arnab next.
Hey guys, likewise commiseration on the loss, but really great showing in the first international tournament. My question goes to Safe, and if he did want to add on it. Yesterday I asked about the double duelist comp you guys brought in Haven, but you guys lagged in that map. Do you think, given that teams have already seen your structure during the kickoff with the double duelist composition, it wasn't as surprising as your any other composition would have been?
I mean, yeah, maybe it's not surprising. It's definitely different to play against compared to the ISO, but I don't think it mattered that much. I think there's a lot of changes we could have made that we didn't, and that's about it. I think it's a different thing to play against, though. Just one agent can change a lot. So, yeah.
Any comments on that?
No, I think different double initiator, double controller, double duelist, like they all have different styles, right? And I think at this day and age, T1 they have a great coach. They have a great understanding of the game, and I think it's just who can play it better, who can play the fundamentals correct, and we have talented players. That's not even a question. I think the difference is getting us on the same page and playing to the strength of these comps. So I don't think it's necessarily a surprise if there any comp really that's being played out right now. I think it's just more of adaptations and being able to problem solve on the fly. So
I have a couple of more questions. This is for Daka. Not a question.
Recording in progress.
Everybody loves your picture which you post with a glass of wine. So it was funny to see after the even after the loss you tweeted about it. But I want to know from your perspective. Ever since you joined Vitality, this was the first international event. How individual performance have been improving for yourself as well, and how your team cohesion has improved with the new team.
I mean, individually for me, it's like after the group stage, I kind of sucked, which is fine. It happens. Then I think team cohesion is a bit hard to work on because like we came from kickoff, we instantly come here, and it's like we have a lot of things to fix, and some of them requires a little bit more time than usual, and it's like a new team still if you think about it. Like some of the boys haven't been this far, for example, in a Masters tournament before, or maybe even Masters. So I think us coming this far is good and achieving maybe for some of the boys for our growth and stuff. But like individually, I think everyone here knows that we can do a lot better and we want to do a lot better. And like, you know, I think me and Les, for example, take it also even harder because like, we're used to doing more. So these kind of things suck, but I think it's just a process, kind of like cycle of life. You have to go through it if you want to win, because like nobody really wins with a fresh team and goes in and wins everything. Like even if you look G2, they haven't won much, but they're a team and they're really strong and they're showing it now. They have been playing together with the squad or whatever for like almost 2 years and stuff, and we almost beat them. So as long as we keep working and stuff, I think it's gonna be all good. Like we have a lot of potential, just up to ourselves if we want to unlock it or not.
Agreed. Thank you. My second another question would be for Coach Poided. In a couple of days, we will be seeing the new agent. Everybody is saying it's a duelist. So if it's a duelist, can we see Durka on that? Because given that the like Teho was introduced and he was immediately playable in the current meta and he's one of the most picked agents in this tournament as well. So you as a coach, how do you see upcoming stage one? And will you be trying new stuff and experimenting with the new agent?
I think the best answer is we're going to be experimenting with a lot, not necessarily just the new agent, but also, just different compositions in general. I think our team is talented enough to understand the fundamentals with like quote unquote the old meta comps, but also this team here is really quick to adjust. I think Safe at the helm of IGL, it's insane his creativity and thought process, and he's able to kind of see new agents and maps in different ways and different perspectives than anyone I've worked with beforehand. And so whether it's a new agent, whether it's Tejo integrations, whatever it is, I think we're definitely going to be testing the waters. So we're definitely going to be a creative team out there.
Thank you guys and best of luck for stage one. Hope to see you in Masters Toronto as well.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. We had a couple more questions come in from the remote media. We'll go next to Miguel.
Hi, thank you. Miguel Soriano from Sons of KS. Well, first of all, sorry for the result today. I know it's bumming, but you guys are really talented and you show through all the competitions you've been into. My question would be for Coach Faded. Since, well, as Dirk mentioned a little bit earlier, this is a new roster. This is like a new team coming out of blue on this season, and you guys managed to get the trophy on kickoff and come this far on to Masters. So my question would be, how would you sum up the way you've been playing all up to this point, and what would be like the highlight you take from the tournament?
I think in terms of the first part, so second part was kind of like highlight. First part was like how I think we were playing up to this point, right? In terms of how we're playing, I think Durka summed it up best. We have really high expectations. Les and Durka have been far. I think even with Kimmy, Safe, and Trex, they all have a winner's mentality. And I think my perspective is I'm proud of them. I think we're definitely really hard on ourselves for wanting more, and I think it's one where it drives us, right? And we're always able to kind of figure out ways to adjust. And I think this tournament will kind of prove that one of the key things we did in this tournament was we always fought back, right? I think we always had some sort of way where even when we're down 1-6 or the scoreline looks kind of impossible, we kind of crawl our way back, and we're always willing to kind of put our foot down and never give up until the end is done, right? So I think especially that mentality is something that you can't teach someone. I think it's something that's innate, and it's something where it's a very competitive mentality. And with that spirit, I think we give a little bit more experience with each other, and it's also growing pains for me, right? I think working with such talented individuals, there are certain things that I need to emphasize, or certain things that I need to adjust personally. And it's not just them that needs to quote unquote find things to adjust or whatnot. It's also on me. And when it comes down to what they did well here, like it's what it is. It's the fighting spirit. And we kind of tested the waters to see the best in other regions and kind of competing to see where our level is at. And EMA is a great region, but I think the teams that are here definitely have different styles and different expertise, and it was really good for us to kind of battle it out, right? And now we know what we need to do for the next international. We need to know the ultimate goal is always going to be champs, and by the time champs comes around, we will be swinging. So that's what we're looking forward to.
Thank you and best of luck. I know we'll see you back in Toronto.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. And we'll take the final question from Pedro Romero.
Yeah, this one's gonna go to Safe. Obviously, like looking at this affair, you guys previously faced each other earlier on in the competition. So I kind of want to ask you about that. What do you think was the biggest similarities or more so differences that you've seen within that T1 squad, from that first encounter, comparing that to today? And also on top of that, what was the difficulty like, if you can describe it as such, when it comes to facing this version of the T1 squad and yeah.
I mean, they're heavy shooters, so they can also like put us down. And difficulties is like, think when you play against something already or a certain concept or a style, it becomes like readable, let's say. I mean, there was a lot of info about us and what we do, and there's some ways you can avoid that, but we kind of walked into the unavoidable, and they did a good job. I think they're just a strong team, just like any other team here. So it's difficult when you've already shown things and people have a read into it, and then you're trying to find time to do new things, but you don't have the time. So yeah, it's a combination of things, I guess.
Thank you. I believe that was the final question of the press conference. Vitality, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Yeah.
We're joined by one who's coming off of their match against Vitality. We'll begin with questions from the remote media. And if the in-house media would like to start queuing up, we will also start calling on you. We'll take the first question from William Cho.
Thank you. This is a question for Stacks. So before the event, wait for his headphones to put on. Before the event, I had asked Stacks about facing Vitality as potentially the best super team currently in VCT, and Stacks agreed that they are what a super team should look like. But today you succeeded in getting revenge against them. So what do you think was the biggest difference between T1 today and Vitality today? Like, what was the biggest factor for you to overcome their strength?
일단 저희 팀원들이 일단은 너무 잘 수행을 해줬고 자기들 실수도 거의 없이 너무 플레이를 잘해줬고요. 저희는 오히려 좀 즐긴다는 마인드로 해서 조금 몸도 많이 가벼웠던 것 같고요. 그리고 바이탈리티는 반대로 잃을 게 조금 있어서 그런지 조금 딱딱했던 모습이 보였던 것 같아서 저희 팀원들이 조금 더 잘 파악했던 것 같아서 이렇게 이겼던 것 같습니다.
Zach says overall today's match, his teammates have performed really well compared to the past and didn't make any much mistakes. And with their plays where they don't make mistakes, they instead of just being worried about it, decided to get the mindset of just enjoying the game and having fun. But he also felt that the Vitality, he felt that they were a little bit nervous, and due to that, they were able to analyze what they're going to do and counter that.
Thank you. We'll take the next question from Pedro Romero.
Yes. Well, first and foremost, congrats to T1 for the victory, moving on to the lower finals, setting up that match against EDG. I got a question for Stacks and also Buzz. I mean, if I understand very 100%, this is the first time that you guys have made it to top 3 in a Masters event. Of course, you guys made that happen in Champions 2022 now, so I believe locked in 2023. But in Masters environment, first time ever. So what I want to ask you guys is, given the fact that you've had to wait quite a long time from that point, end of 2022, early 2023, up until now, having to go through different variations of DRX, leaving DRX and joining T1, what has been the biggest change that you had to endure, or more so have to do in order to stay on top of your level while also trying to compete at a top level this year?
Is this for Stacks and Buzz or Stacks or Buzz?
Buzz. Oh, no, for both. Sorry.
이 질문은 스택스 선수와 버즈 선수를 위한 질문인데 두 답변하셔도 되고요. 처음으로 이제 EDG를 상대로 국제 대회에서 탑3 안에 들게 되었는데 2022년부터 긴 시간 동안 두 선수분들께서는 많은 변화와 이제 경험을 하셨잖아요. 근데 이제 올해 T1에서 국제대회 탑3 안에 들 수 있게 해준 제일 큰 변화 아니면 폼을 유지하는 데 어떤 비결이 있을까요?
일단 저는 첫 번째로는 저희끼리 이제 마음 맞춰서 이제 팀원들이 일단 제일 크고요. 그리고 두 번째는 감독님이 이제 제가 할 수 있는 게임을 할 수 있게 만들어 준 것이 저는 제일 크다 생각해서 저는 자신감 있게 하고 있고 저희가 더 높은 곳까지 갈 수 있다 생각합니다.
Stack says the main reason that he feels the biggest change that he has experienced throughout the year was that he has teammates who are able to share what they want to do and have a great synergy overall. And second would be he has a coach that allows him to play the game that he wants to play, which allowed him to give out great performances.
일단은 코치 감독님들이 준비를 굉장히 잘 해주셨다고 생각하고, 그리고 저희끼리 조금 퍼시픽도 그렇고 이번 마스터즈 하는 과정에서도 조금 힘든 일이 많았었는데 그런 거를 조금 이겨내니까 조금 저희 모두 다 한 단계 성장한 느낌이어서 그런 거에서 조금 더 많이 달라진 것 같아요. 저희가 퍼시픽 할 때랑 그리고 또 첫 경기에서 바이탈리티한테 무기력하게 졌을 때랑 좀 많이 다른 것 같습니다.
Buzz says the coaches and the head coach Autumn has prepared really well for the teammates as well. And compared to the past, such as Pacific and the beginning of Masters, there was a lot of difficult times for them. But since they were able to win through it all together, they were able to go through a development and growth overall, which allowed them to become such a strong team.
Thank you. We'll take the next question from Miguel.
Thank you. First of all, guys, congratulations on the win. My question would be for Stacks. A couple of days ago, you mentioned that the event was scripted by Riot and that you would be facing Vitality and EDG. So, how would you say this thriller called VALORANT Masters Bangkok is going, and what's next for T1 on this story?
그냥 뭐 장난으로 한 거긴 하지만 거의 좀 예상이 하긴 했고, 그리고 이제 제가 원하는 대로 지금 되고 있는 것 같아서 아마도 내일도 다른 제가 원하는 결과가 나오지 않을까라는 생각이 드네요.
He says that when he said that before in the interview, of course it was a playful banter, but also he kind of expected this whole lineup as well. And about that, he thinks that it's going the way that he wants it to be, and hopefully tomorrow is going to be the result that he wants it to be.
Thank you. We'll take the next question from William Cho.
Thank you. This is a question for Izu. So obviously, last year you came onto the scene in Pacific. You said that you wanted to be the best that you really could be, even saying that you wanted to be the faker of Valorant. And it was a rough year, but now you've just been on the up and up here at Masters Bangkok, and a lot of fans around the world are really seeing, okay, Izu really might be the future. Like, this guy is just getting better every game. What do you think is the biggest mindset change from last year and now coming onto an international stage with this new roster?
이주 선수에 대한 질문인데요. 이주 선수는 작년부터 신인으로서 최고가 되겠다, 발로란트계 페이커가 되겠다라고 말씀하셨는데, 실질적으로 이제 꾸준히 우상향으로 실력이 많이 늘고 계시잖아요. 그러면 그때에 비해서 지금과 이제 비교해 보았을 때 이주 선수의 마인드셋이 어떻게 변화했을까요?
마인드셋의 변화는 좀 그렇게 크게 없는 것 같고요. 작년이랑 좀 다른 점은 일단 저희가 소통을 한국어로 함에 있어서 제가 좀 더 얘기하고 알아듣고 하는데 큰 문제가 없는 것이 좀 크다고 생각을 하고, 저희 팀에 좀 베테랑 선수들이 많기 때문에 제가 도움을 받는 것이 크다고 생각해서 제가 잘 하고 있는 것도 저희 같은 팀에 있는 선수들이 저를 많이 도와주고 제가 잘할 수 있게 많은 도움을 줘서 가능하다고 생각합니다.
He says that there's not much of a change within his mindset compared to last year, but the major thing that's different from last year was that he's able to speak and communicate in Korean with all of his teammates, and now he doesn't really have much problem understanding them, as well as saying what he needs to say, and also the fact that they have a lot of veteran players within the team, and he gains a lot of help from them.
Thank you. We'll move to the in-house media if you'd like to ask a question.
Hi, Timo Sira from VLR. I have two questions. First, towards for Stacks. So take us back to the defensive half, the second half of Lotus. What happened that ended up in the situation where you found yourself on overtime? And did you think you could have done better despite the results at the end? The second one is for Coach Autumn. Coming into Haven, Vitality switched up their composition towards a double duelist and a more entry-heavy agent lineup. Did you guys expected that from Vitality, or did you guys didn't really need to adjust much towards it? Thank you.
일단 조금 핑계 아닌 핑계인데, 제가 로터스 때는 조금 마우스에 대한 솔직하게 불신이 조금은 있었고요. 제가 마우스를 바꿨기 때문에 어제. 근데 그거 말고 솔직하게 말하면은 전반전까지는 저희 팀원들이 엄청 잘해줬고, 그리고 후반전은 솔직하게 제 실수 때문에 졌다라고 생각을 하기 때문에 별로 맡길 건 없고 그냥 제가 조금 더 플레이를 집중하면 될 것 같습니다. 그거 말고는 없습니다.
For Stacks, he says he doesn't really want to make it like an excuse, but he also didn't really, since he changed his mice from yesterday to today, he wasn't really fully confident in his performances as well. But other than that, the first half of Lotus was overall the whole team was very good. But then the second half, he felt that he made too much mistakes and doesn't really have much to say about that as well.
그리고 바이탈리티가 헤이븐 조합을 바꿔온 거는 아예 예상하지도 못했었고, 사실 저도 반대로 세이프 선수의 아이소를 봐서 저희 메테오 선수랑 하는 거 한번 보고 싶었는데 저는 사실 맵 중간 인터뷰 때도 얘기했지만 저희가 메테오가 있기 때문에 저희가 더 잘할 거라고 인터뷰를 했었거든요. 그래서 그걸 보고 싶었는데 못 봐서 아쉽습니다.
Autumn says, no, he did not expect or predict that Vitality would change their comps. And when he saw Safe's ISO, he kind of had the imagination of he wants to see him going off against with Meteor's ISO. And that's why he also said between maps interview that since they have Meteor, he will win.
Right. Thank you. 감사합니다.
Good evening. My name is Brian Francis from esports.net. This question is for Stacks. In the last match, like during the press conference, you talked about how you looked back at yourself as an IGL and a player against a game as EDG. You stated that you felt like they read you better, they knew your ideas. So I want to know, could you tell us what happened, like the hours leading up to this game? What did you do, and what changes did you do? Because as a leader, if you have to change everything that you have to work on, then it's a lot of lot to process through. So that's why I want to know this.
민호님 혹시 이해하셨나요? 저 마지막에 좀 이해가 안 돼서.
Can you repeat the last part?
I want to know, like, as a leader, if you change, like, you have to reflect and change yourself quite a bit, and it takes a lot from a leader. So I want to know, like, how did you go through this process?
민호님 말씀해 주실래요, 민호님?
네. 그 선수 전 인터뷰에서 이제 물어봤을 때, 뭐 EDG 전이랑 이제 인터뷰했을 때 본인을 되돌아보면서 파악당했다는 느낌이 있었다고 하셨습니다. 그래서 오늘 게임으로서는 그 전에 비해서 어떤 변화를 만들었는지 본인 내에서, 그리고 이제 리더로서는 IGL로서 그 피드백과 변화 등등 이런 것들을 수용하면서 자기 자신을 성장시켜야 되잖아요. 그런 부분에 대해서 본인이 어떤 것들을 했는지.
네. 일단 어제 졌을 때 조금 너무 제 스스로의 콜에 좀 아쉬웠던 게 너무 많아서 저희 팀원들이랑 얘기도 같이 했었고 생각도 공유를 했었고요. 근데 그게 이제 엄청 어려운 실수가 아니라 엄청 간단한 건데 그것만 했었으면 저희가 이겼다라고 저는 엄청 생각을 해서 별로 신경을 안 쓰고 그걸로 이제 좀 자신감을 또 얻었던 것 같고 그거에 잘 돼서 저희가 오늘 경기도 잘 나왔던 것 같고요. 그리고 이제 만약에 또 만나게 된다면 그게 어떤 건 될지 모르겠지만 이리지는 조금 경계를 좀 더 해야 되지 않을까라는 생각합니다.
Stack says, after they lost yesterday, and he also felt that he gave himself feedback, as in his calls were kind of off and would have been better, should have been better. And overall, their loss of yesterday's match was due to simple mistakes, some things that wouldn't be hard to fix. So he doesn't really care about that much. But as he was talking with his team and coaches, and they talked about the reason for the failure or their loss yesterday, he was able to regain his confidence, and he thinks that that's the reason why they were able to win today's match. And also, if they have to meet EDG again, they better watch out.
Thank you. My second question is for Meteor. If you don't mind me asking, one of the best rounds for me as a viewer to watch was with you and Buzz versus the 4 players against Vitality, where you got a 4K. Could you tell me about what were the comps between you and Buzz during that round, and what do you tell him after he stole your ace?
이제 메테오 선수를 위한 질문인데요. 이제 본인이 그 기자님이 생각하시는 그 버즈 선수랑 2대 4로 이제 4킬을 했을 때인데 그 2대 4를 하시면서 에이스를 뺏기기도 했고 그 도중에 이제 펌스 소통을 어떤 부분이 있었을까요?
일단 상황이 어떻게 됐는지 모르는데 제가 일단 메인으로 돌고 있었고 그 상대가 여기 있다라는 얘기 콜을 해줘가지고 그냥 그 콜 듣고 총만 쐈던 것 같습니다.
인정.
He says it's kind of hard to remember the exact details, but as he was going through main and he heard the call of there's a opponent, an enemy there, and just shot his shot, and it just happened.
Thank you so much, and all the very best for tomorrow's matches.
Thank you.
Hello guys, it's Solero from VALORANT.gg. 승인 축하드립니다. I have two questions, one to Meteor and one to Stacks. My question to Meteor is, I know you've been asked it already, but before the event, but now that you're already so far and so close to the grand finals, how's it different for you to play in Masters event for Genji and for T1 team? And also, since you're the last player who won Masters at this event, do you think it will be like the strong side that will help you this time as well?
Can you elaborate on the part of the strong side?
Yeah, would be like kind of a like something that will help him to win again since he already has this experience. Thank you.
먼저 메테오 선수에 대한 를 위한 질문인데요. 대회 전에도 이제 멀리 오기도 했고 이제 곧 이제 결승이 한층 더 가까워졌는데 마스터즈를 전에도 우승한 경험도 있고 그러면 이제 마스터즈에서 이제 플레이를 하게 되는 순간에서 뭐 젠지와 그리고 T1에서 이제 출전하게 되었는데 그 본인이 느끼시는 차이가 있는지 그리고 그 마스터즈 한번 우승한 경험이 있으니까 그런 경험치가 뭐 이번 경기에서도 도움이 많이 되는지 물어봅니다.
일단 우승을 해서 경험치를 쌓았고 지금도 그 덕분에 계속 살아있다 생각하고 있고요. 그리고 팀 차이는 아니라고 생각하고 그냥 개인적으로 젠지 때는 제가 말 없이 총만 쏘던 사람이었는데 T1 와서는 말도 좀 하면서 총도 쏠 수 있는 그냥 제 스스로가 한층 더 성장하고 있다고 생각해서 좋은 것 같습니다.
He says, of course, the victory that he has claimed on last year's Master Shanghai has given him a lot of experience, and of course, that contributes to how they're performing at the current Masters. And he doesn't really think there's much difference between the teams that he has played for last year and this year, but mainly, he would say when he was in Genji, he would not really talk and just be a pure aimer, but then in T1, he has learned how to communicate more and communicate more efficiently while he shoots. But overall, he just thinks that he has improved a lot by himself.
And my second question is, thank you. And my second question is to Stacks. In Worlds 2021, EDG and T1 were in League of Legends. EDG and T1 were in the same group, and they played together twice, and the score was 1-1. So will the history repeat itself?
롤 얘기하는 거죠?
Are you talking about League or Valorant?
In League of Legends, Worlds
In League of
2021.
Legends?
그 상황을 잘 모르겠는데.
He's not really familiar with that situation.
Yeah. 저도 그냥 T1 와서 처음으로 이제 롤을 즐겨보긴 했지만 그 정도까지 깊게 즐겨보는 편이 아니라서 그냥 내일 EDG 이기도록 하겠습니다.
Says that he's not really familiar with League at all. I mean, of course he watches, but he didn't really watch during that time, so he doesn't really have much to say to that. But tomorrow's rematch against EDG, he's gonna claim victory.
So basically, that was the question: if T1 will win tomorrow.
Yeah.
감사합니다.
Thank you.
Thank you. We had two more questions come in from the remote media. We'll go to Miguel next.
Thank you. The question would be open for whoever wants to take it. A couple of days ago, Jonah P talked about that G2 maybe needed a loss to get their group back and come back stronger. Stax mentioned after the loss also that T1 would become stronger and scarier for the next games, and you guys are delivering on that matter. So what do you think? What do you make of this? Are the defeat really like a wake-up call for the team, or is the team getting its best whether they win or lose? Thank you.
이거는 아무나 답변하셔도 되는데.
네, 당연히 진짜 잘해지는 팀이 되려면은 말씀해 주신 것처럼 패배로부터 뭘 배워야 된다 생각을 하고 당장 저희만 해도 여기서 첫 경기 바이탈리티 지고 나서도 저희가 성장할 포인트를 얻었었고 또 어제 EDG 같은 경우에는 이제 사람들 말로는 뭐 치추 선수가 잘해서 이겼다라고 생각하실 수도 있지만 그건 그 선수 잘한 게 맞지만 저희도 사실 저희가 몰랐었던 저희의 약점들을 운영적으로도 많이 드러냈다 생각을 하거든요. 그래서 어제도 그거에 대한 이제 서로 피드백들이 있었고 그 결과가 오늘 바이탈리티와의 스플릿에서 나왔다 생각을 하기 때문에 말씀해 주신 것처럼 패배로부터는 항상 뭔가를 배우는 게 중요하다 생각합니다.
Autumn says, of course, in order for a team to get better and improve, they have to go through losses and the whole experience of that. And the first match of the tournament was against Vitality, and we lost that match, but also got back on our feet and were able to improve a lot. And also for the EDG match, some people say this because Chichu's just extremely good, but also feels that the match of EDG also showed the flaws and the mistakes of what T1 did back then. And of course, there was a feedbacks along with that. And thanks to that, they were able to. He thinks that they won. They were able to win today's match against Vitality.
Thank you and best of luck for tomorrow, guys.
Thank you. We'll take the next question from Pedro Romero.
Yes, I'm gonna send this question over to Sylvan. Over so far throughout this entire early part of the year, this team has been able to make changes, subbing in Carpe and then subbing him out, putting you back into putting you into his place, and then vice versa. Kind of feels like it's been happening like a lot of times. Nevertheless, what I want to ask you though is sort of, since you have been able to slot into the team when the time needs it, how have you been able to manage your mental, manage your form, and manage your performance in a way that contributes to the team as if no change has been made? How have you been able to handle all of that stuff so far this year?
칠반 선수를 위한 질문인데요. 이제 T1은 지금 최근 많은 변화를 기용하고 있는 팀이며, 뭐 칠반 선수와 카르페 선수 등등 이제 그 도입을 왔다 갔다 하면서 하는 중인데, 이 과정 중에서 뭐 칠반 선수가 이제 멘탈적으로 어떤 케어를 하시는지, 아니면 그 스크림이나 뭐 도입이 되면서 어떻게 퍼포먼스를 케어하는지 물어봅니다.
저가 연습이 들어가고 나가고 했는데, 뭐 저는 딱히 솔직히 뭐 멘탈 나가지 않았고요. 저희 팀을 믿기 때문에 그런 부분에서 멘탈 나가지 않았고, 개인적인 연습을 해가지고 대회에서 좋은 폼을 보여드렸던 것 같습니다.
Says, of course, it was a little bit hectic going in and out of practice along with the team, but honestly, he doesn't really feel he's not really affected by it, as he just believes in the team itself, and in the tournament itself, of course, he believes in the teams, and as a result, we're able to get good results.
Thank you. And we'll take the final question from William Cho.
Thank you. This question is for Buzz. So T1 is now top 3 at Masters, and of course, obviously, the top remaining Pacific team and Korean team. But there still seems to be a lot of people who are doubting just how good or how far T1 can go despite these victories. So what do you have to say to anyone who still doesn't believe in T1?
버즈 선수를 위한 질문인데요. 현재 T1은 마스터즈에서 탑 3를 이제 차지했고, 퍼시픽 내부에서도 어떻게 보면은 제일 잘하는 팀이라고 볼 수 있잖아요. 그럼에도 불구하고 많은 사람들이 T1을 의심하는 중이라고 합니다. 그 사람들에 대해서 해주고 싶은 말씀이 있으실까요?
그냥 뭐 저희가 좀 마스터에서 잘하고 있기 때문에 저희가 뭐 물론 우승을 해야겠지만 저희가 그래도 충분히 강한 팀이고 세계에서 경쟁력 있는 팀이라는 것을 저희는 오늘 경기로서 증명한 것 같고요. 그냥 키보드에서 손 떼고 그냥 밥이나 드셨으면 좋겠습니다. 네.
He says, as they're giving out extremely good performances, and of course they would have to win to actually prove that they're the best team in the world. But he still believes that from today's match, they showed the audiences as well as the haters that they're an extremely tough team to beat and has a really good competitive power. For all those that are doubting T1, just take your fingers off the keyboard and just eat your dinner.
T1, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. This will conclude the press conference.
Thank you very much.